it's our safety.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching Mycbh-Tv. What we are doing today, we're basically have certain topics that we focus on a day-to-day basis as we're getting ready to do a as close to a 24/7 broadcast schedule for 2021. So we are building behind the scenes. We are building the resources, the videos behind the scenes. These are videos on the topic of each day that we have produced, and there are going to be some off-topic videos also as we continue to expand and what we're trying to do is create a more TV-like experience, even though each day will have some type of focus. And I'm sure in the future it will be less and less noticeable as we expand the resources, we create more content, and things of that nature. So that being said, this is what you're seeing today. Uh, Sometimes I'll come in live and do something live again, adding more content to our resources, and we'll be creating obviously some commercial messaging and things like that. Although a lot of the videos we show are commercial in nature, they're based on the activities of our network, not just the TV network, just one of our companies, but we also have other things that we're doing, and they are business related, commercial related, some sort. I'm always doing business, even with the gaming. I mean, I have my own gaming development venture going on. So again, it's very hard for me to talk about a subject that I'm not financially involved with in one way or another. But this is an attempt to develop the TV part. It's going to be play a major role moving forward in everything that we're doing. So bear with us. If you see repetitive content, this is mostly what you'll see today is things that were already broadcast. Not that everybody in the world saw it, but in any case, these are replays mostly, unless I come in live and I'll probably say that I'm live, and that will be content that will be only viewable really for people who are watching live or will be watching the replays. And there could be some material that I will record and it will show up in future um, daily schedules. So that's it. Just wanted to give you that update. What's happening? Why? It seems because most people are used to just seeing me pop in once in a while with some video, some one of these videos once in a while. But now you'll be seeing us broadcasting more and more on a daily basis. And I just wanted to let you guys know why that is happening and what we're doing in the background. We are working. You guys who have chat, uh, most likely, if you're seeing this video, if you're seeing this now, and if you're watching, us broadcasting, it's very likely, not all the time, but very likely that I am watching the chat room. So you can put in a comment in the chat. If I don't respond right away, understand I may be away for a while. Maybe have to go run to the store or pick up the kids at the bus stop. You can look at the time, Eastern Standard Time, pretty much know if you're gonna catch me or not. But you'll have a, when I get back, I'll see your message. You just hold on, wait, for a while, or come back, and I will respond to all messages. And so, thank you for commenting. I really do appreciate that you do interact with our channel and make a comment, and even, whatever it is, it's still appreciated, really. And I thank you for that, obviously. And also, if anyone has any question, you want to leave your contact information in the comment, if that's allowed, or you know how to do that, and you needed to ask a question about any of the programs that you're watching, the videos that you watch, you can do that as well. I will answer. If you're seeing the broadcast, I'm around. I'll either get here before we end the day of broadcasting or whatever. I'll be answering you, so you don't worry about that. So that's enough for now. Let's enjoy the rest of the programming for today. Thank you for watching. So, if the pandemic wasn't bad enough for you, now, and the unknown presidential outcome of the election, that wasn't worded right, but you know what I'm talking about. If that wasn't bad enough, now that apparently that solar activity in the sun is getting ready to potentially knock our power out. That's it. So y'all with your crypto, you better lock that bad boy up someplace, wrapped in lead. And everyone else, you've got some issues. I've been telling you guys, even if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna frighten you guys, but you should be ready by now, aren't you? Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it, that you are watching this and you are not ready for an emergency. After all this already, come on. Okay. So listen, we have our programs, our Emergency Owners Association program. We have our farm owners program. If you're not farming right now, you don't have a farm, that's another thing. You're really, really risking it. Even if you live in a studio apartment in a big city, you can have a farm. Our program shows you how you can do that, and you can be receiving, when there's no food in the supermarket, you can be receiving food in your home. Okay? Receiving food, staying alive. Alright, while other people are scavenging and whatever to survive and dying, you will survive, you and your family. Again, if you don't have these things in place, there are just a few spots available, especially for that emergency program. Don't fool around with it. A lot of people like to troll my videos and say negative things and call me a grifter and scam artist and all this, all this false accusations. But the bottom line, when the sun solar flare hits the fan, that's going to be the end of all of that BS. Okay, and those people who took my advice, those are the ones that are going to survive. Make it you and your families. Stop the silliness. Stop your stupid thinking and take some action. So I'm gonna give you guys, and I'm praying that this solar thing is nothing right now, but one of these days it's going to be. One of these days something's gonna happen, and you know that. You guys gotta feel it in your gut, but then it'll be too late. You gotta get started now. So I'm also, and welcome another overcast day over here in the neighborhood. Very rare for Florida, but hey, listen, I appreciate it. And if it rains, even better. But you know, it's always been incredible to me how many people just don't realize that you're slaving every day to pay bills. Incredible. Paying bills. And one of the biggest bills you have is your rent, right? You're paying that rent. Then comes the car payment, right? You're paying for the car. And then you got to pay the mechanic. It's not like the car doesn't break down or anything like that. So, and if you're paying a mortgage, you know, good for you. But still, you're paying a mortgage. You know you're going to pay like 3 times the house, right? By the time you finish on a 30-year, it's incredible. I don't think people really sit down and look at what you're actually doing. So I'm going to talk to you how to stop that. You're living a pay everyone else lifestyle, and you're working every day just to pay someone else. You got to stop that. At the end of the time, a period, whatever, the week, months, years, what do you have? You know, and if you lose a job and you miss a payment or two, they were already taken away after you've been working and slaving over years to pay the house, and then they're coming to take your house away. How can we live like that? I don't know about you, but that's horrible. Refuse to do that. You know that? Refuse that. So, why don't you change your mentality and adopt a pay-for-itself lifestyle? And ever since I've been living a pay-for-itself lifestyle, I don't have any of those worries. Even during the COVID-19 thing and people losing their jobs and their income, I paid my bills without an issue. Had no problem at all maintaining the things I want and need paid without a single problem and without a worry, in fact. That's really good. It's good to see your children every morning and know that they don't have anything to worry about. You know, because Daddy took care of it, okay? It's time for you guys to take care of things. You guys can start changing your life around by simply changing. I have been over my usual walking distance. By simply changing your thinking, changing the way you do things, okay? And especially changing those bills. Those bills, after you reduce those bills really should be making money for you. You really shouldn't be paying large amounts of money on something that's not making money for you. You really have to change that mindset. It's totally dumb. And can you imagine if the mortgage you're paying, just the other day, a friend of mine, old friend, calls me up because he's having, like everyone else, a little difficulty getting over a previous delay in paying the mortgage. And though he's up to the, in terms of paying the mortgage every month, he still can't make up those 3-4 months that he fell behind. You're behind the 8 ball. This is happening all across America. This is happening to many people, good people. And it's just because of the mindset that you get trapped in. They do it on purpose. It's on purpose. Remember about those 40 acres and a mule? What happened? Sherman gave the field order to give the slaves 40 acres and a mule. And they started giving out these slaves 40 acres and a mule. You know what the bankers did? They started coming in and started making deals. Hey, you need some money to get things going here. You got to get this and get that. So let's give you a loan on the property. You can use this money to do whatever you want to do. And so they started mortgaging, putting loans, using their property as collateral. And these guys took their property away. That's what happened to the 40 acres and the mule. 40 acres and a mule was mortgaged and they then got lost. It's not a winning deal. It's not a winning deal. What you need to do is do like I did, and that is to turn your bills into profit centers. You're going to pay for mortgage. You're going to pay a third of your income. Some of you even a half of your income to pay rent. You need that rent to pay for itself. You need to make it pay you money, not just the landlord and not just the bank who holds your mortgage. You need to make money. Make money from what you're paying. Even years ago in New York, I had a mortgage, and we made that mortgage pay. As a matter of fact, we used that money to come into Florida and to buy here and to get control of property here. And that's what started everything for us. But it wasn't until we changed the mentality of struggling and slavery, paying other people money and other institutions money to keep us enslaved. When we changed that mentality into a pay for itself mentality, then we were able to become financially independent and turn things around. And that's what you can do. You have to change your mind, change your mentality, and turn these big bills into profit centers. So most people have the mortgage or the rental as their big bill. Both of those you can change into paying you money. Now, whatever your situation and whatever you're renting, you can probably turn that into add in some type of profit center, and at least the things that we are promoting, at least bring in an income of $60,000 per year. $60,000 on just one of our programs that you start. You can be adding $60,000 in income to your household, and obviously that's something that you can use to pay off your home, pay off that mortgage, and pay the rent if you're paying rent. Doesn't matter. Rental, by the way, is not a bad idea. Very smart. People used to say it's not smart to pay rent. You never have any. Sometimes the rental is better than doing the mortgage. So that's not an issue. Both of y'all are doing the wrong thing if you're not making money from the money you're spending. So that's the way people who live the pay-for-itself lifestyle look at it. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if you're paying $1,800 in rent or $1,200 in the mortgage. Oh, I'm saving $600. You're losing money because you're not making anything. All right. So that's it. You know, that's it in a nutshell. And also the car. If you're paying a car payment, then you got the bill, the mechanical bills, upkeep, maintenance. Again, not too bright. You have to make that car pay for itself. Get that money coming in for you having the car, for you going out, driving up and down the road. Have it pay off for you. Even myself right now, I'm walking back and forth waiting for the kids' school bus. I'm taking advantage of the time. I'm not going to stand and do nothing at the corner waiting for a school bus. I'm going to walk and get some exercise, otherwise I wouldn't do. And then also, I'm making a video talking to you. That rhymed, didn't it? I might as well add rhyming to what I'm doing. Okay, so you get the idea. You have to turn the things that you're doing into benefits for yourself. So think about that, mull it over, and when you get a chance, or if it's continuing after this video, look at the programs we have. We have real estate programs, pay for itself. You can turn, and these are things that you're not going to buy real estate right now. You don't need to. You're just turning where you live, what you have right now, and turning it into a profit center. And then the car as well. We have the car workshops that you can start turning your car. And if you're interested in purchasing a car with a profit center connected to that car purchase, then also that's something you need to look into, and we're able to provide that networking and that service for you. So I would really look into that. You know what it is for your car to be producing 60,000. That's just an example. It's just one example of many that we have, but it is real. 60,000 from your car, that your car's paying you $60,000. Okay, then add to that in your home, having your rented property or your mortgage property paying you $60,000. Okay, these are real numbers of real programs that we have available that you really should be implementing. There ain't no reason. I mean, everyone listening to me right now should be able to turn their car into $60,000 a year income, and their home, rented or mortgage, doesn't matter, into another $60,000. That's $120,000. If you rent a home, if you own a car, if you're making payments on either or, doesn't matter. That's $120,000 everyone listening of driving age could be making every year, and that's without a job. Okay, without a job. So look into our programs. They are you say, how can that be? How can that be? Well, the number one reason it can be is that everyone can't do it. We just don't have the ability to just let everyone come in and to join it. So there is a very tight limit. Okay, it goes by area, but it's very, very limited. So that means that the people who jump in on it right now, right away, they're the ones that are lucky, and they'll live the life, the pay for itself lifestyle, and have nothing to worry about. So that's the plain, simple. It wasn't that short, but as short as I can make it. So have a good day, do something, look at the other programs that we have, and take some action, because the spots are limited. Take care.
I drive 65,000 miles each year in my bus. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. You don't want to be in the blind spot of a 40,000-pound bus when I have less than a second to react. I do what I can by changing lanes and taking turns slowly. It really helps when people look out for me too. Give me room to operate safely. It's our roads. It's our safety.
I've been driving a truck for 40 years now. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like that trucks can't stop quickly. It takes my 80,000-pound truck 200 yards to come to a complete stop. So I always do my best to give a lot of cushion. It helps when other drivers realize that and do the same. Please give trucks the space we need so we can all stay safe. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Okay, this video is for the pay-for-itself lifestyle, and what we're going to talk about today is a low-ticket item, just out of the blue, that you may have already in your kitchen or in your home. So what could something be? I'll just pick up something, maybe cookie molds. You have a bunch of cookie molds in your home. How can we use that for the pay-for-itself lifestyle? Well, you just simply make some cookies. Now, you can get some recipes from online very easily, and you can get some old-fashioned recipes, because that would be actually new tastes to people, and it will give you some way to compete against all the others who are doing new recipes or the new flavors and whatnot. So you can take and start perfecting your recipe, make it different, make it old-fashioned, this and that. And maybe in those days there was no such thing as old-fashioned, let's just say, I don't know, macadamia nuts. I don't know if that was a thing back in the old days, but maybe it's something you can do. Make a change, bring in something new to an old recipe, and get those cookie dishes, cookie molds to the task. Okay, and you can start making that. Now, you're gonna say, oh, but you're gonna have to start making baking, and then how are you gonna get customers and this and that and blah blah blah? Well, the secret to that one is to develop your market. You know, a lot of people gripe that they don't have the money, you know, to start a business. And then even when they start a business, then you don't have the money to market, to get it known by people, etc., etc. So why don't you use this time, the time where you're researching, getting your recipes together, figuring out a schedule, how you're going to do this and that and blah blah blah. But at the same token, at the same time, why don't you locate your future customers? Why don't you join the groups they're in already? Make yourself known. You know, talk about, you know, I'm thinking of doing a new type of, bringing back some old recipe with new ideas on that. Some cookies and this and that, which, you know, I'm looking for tasters. That's another thing. While you're going and looking for other groups to join, why don't you start your own? Start a group. Entice them with free samples, you know? And you can start getting a meeting together once the COVID thing is over with. But even without it, you know, people need a place to go. And if you offer them a place to come, you know, COVID safe, in other words, 6 feet apart, everyone, you know, don't pack them in. They have to reserve a spot, and you're going to give them a nice 1 hour presentation and eating, testing a taste, recipe polling. The people can taste a few ideas of yours and actually vote and participate. It gives them an evening out doing something different, novelty of something that has never been or hasn't been, at least they haven't tasted or known about before. And it also exposes your service, your future business to your future customers, their potential customers. And if they've tried what you have, say, you know, I really like that. I can't wait till you get the final product. If you take their list, you can send them newsletter and let them know when the orders will be, when your recipe is ready for ordering. And that's that. You can use that with any type of food, not just the one I gave you. But these are things you can do now and build up your business now without baking one thing yet. So that's the idea. Take care. Pay for itself lifestyle. Really think about it. It's a great philosophy. Okay, friends, we're going to talk about the car business. I know a lot of you are interested in starting your own used car business, and I'm going to talk about that. A PFI car business. PFI stands for pays for itself. So let's get into that today. Of course, if you have anyone who's into or thinking about starting flipping cars, this is basically a car flipping type of business. Again, we're not dealing with licenses or anything that requires certification or licensing in any of the states. You can do that. That's always an option for you. Again, you can do it with or without. You can start without it, and then because there are qualifiers, there's certain amounts of cars that you can sell on your own without needing a license and things of that nature. But all of that you can learn during the training program that we have. We also have, if you go to classiforium.com, we also have under the events section, we have a series of car flipping seminars, crash courses actually, which will get you get up and going in about 4 evenings, just 4 evenings, 6 to 10, Monday through Thursday. And so, there's more coming up. I'm doing the top 100 cities also during my 2020 through 2022 tour. I'll be doing that with the real estate one as well. So again, I'll be in your city for a whole week. I'll be I'll be teaching the real estate and be doing the car flipping. So look out for those. Keep checking on classiforium.com
in the events section for your city. But make sure you're in the top 100 cities, because if not, I won't be in your city. And there's a very tight restriction on how many people can attend the car seminar. So you really need to get in. If you can travel, if you're an hour away, you can get involved in the seminar, by the way. So you have to be in a top 100 city or within an hour's ride, which is about 60 miles away, and even 80. Okay, so yeah, even if you were 100 miles, you can probably sneak in. So look for it on classicforum.com and come in. So basically, what is this all about? It's about, listen, people are paying it's getting like the online marketing, because I'm in online marketing, if you couldn't tell. And I'm sorry, that URL is wrong. Let me put the right URL. I just realized it. Oh my! I just did the other real estate one, so I'll be fixing that. On one of our broadcasts, we were wrong. I have two going on at the same time. Okay, so that's the corrected one here for you guys. Everywhere else except YouTube. YouTube had it right. Woo! Okay, so what's happening is that just like in internet marketing, where everybody wants money, every little thing. This is how it's getting out there. Listen, they want to charge you for doing this. Look, see that? So for this, they want X amount of dollars, and sometimes it's monthly, right? So now, if you want to do this, that's another few, tens of hundreds of dollars, $10, $30, $70, whatever. And then, God forbid, you want to do this, but then So it's like every little thing. They want you to pay for every little thing, and this is like life, right? You guys have to pay for the rent. Then you got to pay your car payment. Then you got insurances, right? You need with the car life. You need the car insurance, and then with the home, you need mortgage insurance, and then life insurance and fire insurance, and all just that. Every little thing that you need to do, it has to come out of your pocket. It's getting overwhelming. And then God forbid something happens to your car. Let's get into the car, and that's another car payment. Yeah, you got to go back into debt. The other day, one of our family members said they're trying to get ready to retire and all that, and then all of a sudden the car breaks down. It's no good at all. It died. They have to get into debt now. Right before, they were planning to retire and just take all the money they had collected to, settle and into their retirement mode. And then all of a sudden, now something comes to draw that out. And I've done many videos already about health issues. All you have to do is get sick. Just get sick. And my goodness, they will drain the swamp. Maybe Trump isn't able to drain the swamp in Washington, but if you get sick, they will drain your swamp of finances, whatever it is you put together. Believe me, I know that. And forget it. If you get terminally ill, that's it. You are done. Okay, I know people who had to sell off all their real estate just to pay for the spouse's medical bills that died. They died. The bills still have to be paid, and he had to get rid of all his possessions just because he's an honorable guy. He wants to pay the bills and all that. He paid it, man. He paid it, but he was left with nothing. So this is the issue. Listen, no matter. We talk about people with pensions, people with they worked all their lives, hoping and resting assured that the union will take care of everything. Great unions, okay. I have personal family experience, and in the end, okay, the union did do some things, but the bottom line is that excuse me. The bottom line is that the member, that union worker, is done financially, just done. So anything you were able to do throughout life, you will lose it in the end. So dealing with what we're dealing with now with the car issue, cars are expensive. And I'm not just talking about new cars. I'm talking about just getting a car. Because it's not just getting a car, is it? It's getting a mechanic, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about? Can I hear an amen? Of course not. Of course you can. You have to understand that the cars break down. That's more money out of your pocket. That's a misery. I've seen a lot of people having misery. Now, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. So basically, what PFI cars are is a car business that helps people, brings people together with cars in a program that helps them pay, helps the car. In other words, the car pays for itself. They drive around in nice cars, but the car is paying for itself. And then some. Like this, in our program, there's people who are actually earning a living just with the car. The car itself is helping them make money. And let me tell you, when things go bad, you don't have the job closes or you're excused from employment because business goes down, although that shouldn't be happening these days. But it can and most definitely will happen eventually. It'll be good if you have income coming in from the car that you drive. And so, and then we're not talking about Uber here. We're not talking about Lyft or anything like that. It's not like that at all. It is simply just the car helping you to make ends meet, especially to cover its own expenses, because you'll always have mechanical problems and issues and things like that. But I remind myself, I'm not trying to sell you a car. Again, this is the message of the PFI car business to your clients. I'm talking to you about starting your own PFI car flipping business. And if you go to this URL, you can get a lot more information. I mean, people are going and getting cars with nothing, and they're coming out with a car that's going to be paying for itself and paying them as well. That's outrageous, isn't it? But it will sell your cars. Your cars will be sold, and you will make a lot of money because you're not just selling a used car and that's that. Giving them more car bills, mechanic bills, gasoline bills, etc., etc. Not that they should be getting those bills, but if they pay with a credit card, then obviously they will. So again, these cars pay for themselves. Wouldn't you be? Can you imagine? And you're making more than if you were selling the car normally. How can that be? Take a look at the video. It gives you the details. Now, how many cars do you think you would sell if people could just come to you and they drive out with a car that's producing money for them? It'll pay for their car. That means you're getting paid, right? But also they're earning income. How many cars do you think you would sell under that agreement? A whole lot. So this is a definite thing for you to look at. And the only caveat is this: there's a limit in each city. The larger cities have more PFI licensed businesses with us, but the majority of cities in the United States can only have one of you. So you need to act fast. So why don't you go over to this URL, look into it. I think you'll be greatly impressed and excited about pressing that button before your neighbor does. Because somebody in your city, they're going to do this. It should be you. Take care and thanks for watching.
In in a pay-for-itself lifestyle, I'm going to start doing a series of examples. And we're going to start with the high-ticket items, the expensive stuff, okay? And we'll do some cheap stuff. So I'll do both sides. I'll do a video on expensive stuff, and I'll do one on very, regular day-to-day things and how to make money from your regular stuff right in your house, actually, that you already have. All right. So let's talk about expensive things. Let's say, let's use for example Liberace. Liberace, he used to, and if those of you who don't know who Liberace, he was a flamboyant entertainer, pianist, which one is a pianist, isn't it? Anyway, he would dress up in fancy clothes. He had the biggest rings on every single finger, diamonds and glittery stuff. The guy, he said, was a very flamboyant musician. He would play the piano there and entertain the crowd, have a show. Something like, something like you would, maybe you've seen on a cruise. You wouldn't see something like his show, but like we have a pianist that would talk and every once in a while say something funny and then bring it into talk about the piece he's gonna play and whatever, something like that. Full show, just a musician, and then he would have special effects and all that. Now, I bring up Liberace because he would buy expensive things, his rings, had the clothing and whatnot. Now the thing is this, he used those things for his livelihood, for his business. He was an entertainer. He wore that on stage. He would wear it, when he goes to attend functions, events. I mean, after all, he has to look like Liberace all the time. So, of course, you look at a person like that and you figure, well, he had to do that, He was rich, so, he played the part, and he had to show it, his flamboyance to the crowd and all that. But think about this for a second. How about if you would also be able to buy expensive things? Liberace, he would get that off his taxes, number one. So his income was offset. The money he made was offset in terms of how much tax he would have to pay by buying actually these expensive items. Because of course they were used for his business, his livelihood, and that's a tax deduction. Or at least it was at the time. So he actually made money by buying these things. See, that's intelligence. That's buying things that pay for itself. So actuality, every time Liberace would pay or buy an expensive piece of jewelry, he's making money with it. Simple as that. He not only uses it for his performances, but he also uses it to reduce the taxes he would owe otherwise. So in both instances, the thing he's buying is making money for him. See? And we can go down the road of all the things he would get. I mean, conceivably, he could get a car. He could have incorporated a jet plane into his performance and in his public, movement from here to there, and we can see, can you imagine, we can see Liberace in the air coming towards the airport. I'm sure like you saw with Trump when he did with the campaign, if that was Liberace, he would write that off on his taxes. I use the plane for my livelihood, for my business. Everybody knows Liberace's coming to town. I'm sure that the circus, the Barnum and Bailey, when they were in functioning, in operation, they could have used that train. I don't know their business, but I would have made that train a tax deduction. Because of course it's promoting, all the cars are promoting as the train moves from city to city. And number two, as the train comes in, pulls into another city, I mean, they could have made, I'm sure they did, but they could have made it a big social media event, public release, have public press release, have people, media come and welcome the circus train into the town. Well, that's a tax deduction right there. Bringing it down, their tax burden from the profits they're making, plus it's advertising, marketing, etc. And that's also other tax deductions. There's many ways a business can reduce its tax burden through these things. And yet, you have your own train, you have your own plane, you have your own expensive car. So it really isn't that difficult to start fashioning your lifestyle as a pay-for-itself lifestyle. You just have to start incorporating certain things into your life and turning that into a business. What do you like? What things do you like that cost money and that you would like to incorporate into your life? And so start making a list of those things that you would like to have, and then look for a way, a business, an idea, a concept that you can create a business around, and then justify having those things and getting those things. Now, once you do that, you say, well, I still have to buy it first, right? You don't have to buy them first. They could be part of your planning to buy them as you make a profit. But remember, the more essential those items are to you doing your business, actually, the more easier it becomes to actually get money from other people, from banks, from venture capitalists, investors who would want to invest and see that your business gets started and make some return of investment money from that. So it isn't really, that hard to go from step to step and actually attain your heart's desires in a pay-for-itself lifestyle and philosophy. So that's an example of big ticket items. Whole train, whole plane, and we'll explore more of these things. A brand new expensive car, Rolls Royce or Lamborghinis, whatever you young guys like to drive these days, doesn't matter. Just getting these things just as a symbol is ridiculous. It's better to gain these things as part of your business and deducting the costs or some of the costs from your taxes, and making more money because you're using it for your business. So again, You just have to think creatively. And of course, everybody's not going to get a Lamborghini. This is a, for most of you, it's just a dumb thing to do, basically. But I'm talking in terms of you exploring your creative juices and manifesting things that are inside of you, and which I believe is your personal success, your natural success, and then fashioning a pay-for-itself lifestyle around that. Always remember that these things should pay for themselves. You shouldn't be paying for them. They should pay for themselves. And that is the best way to wealth. As after all, why should you sink all your money into the things when the things can add to the money you make? And that's really important. It's really big. Reduce your taxes, create more income, make you more popular, make you more spectacular, advertise your business, market your business, build brand recognition, and all those good things through the acquisition of things that make your business and your lifestyle prosper. And they pay for themselves. Pay for itself lifestyle started now. Okay, so basically, I'm sorry about that. Let me start over again. Basically, what We'll be discussing a very important development in real estate and an exclusive opportunity that only 12 of you will be able to take advantage of. But I'm sorry about the technical issue. We had a mic. We didn't get the mic set up, and I can see the mic is having an issue already. It needs to be batteries need to be changed in it, so we're going to do that after this presentation. Anyway, enough of the hassles of life. Let's get on to another hassle of life and how we've solved that for you. Before you do that, if you take to classiforium.com and look for our events section, you can see the upcoming events that we have in real estate investing and car flipping as well, and other things. So you can always check to see if we're near you, if we have an event scheduled within 1 hour driving distance of you where you live, which will qualify you to partake in that particular city's event. Take a look there. The prices are as low as they're ever going to be, and reserve your seat immediately. Things are going to change and flip around, so you need to act quickly. If you're interested in our exclusive extreme real estate investing workshop, read about it, look at it, make your good decisions based on that. Okay. Today we're going to talk about something that affects really everyone, because most of you who are renting or paying a mortgage, most of you are missing out on something that really should be a priority for everyone. Now, most of you are doing things in a standard way, and most people react to the things you do in a standard way as well. It doesn't mean that that's the only way things can be done. So do not mistake standard ways that most people do things with possible ways that it could be done. So that's the thinking you have to have. You can't just go by, just commonplace activity or commonplace notions. You should really be looking at what you can do as opposed to what is being done by most people, because simply they don't do their homework. And in today's discussion, there's one of those things. We're going to be discussing one of those very things in real estate, by the way. Another thing, this presentation is a presentation that will be for two groups of people. One is someone who has followed the link to find out about this information on the landing page. You're going to see this put together presentation, but also those people who are late to it. There's only 12 that will be able to actually do this. And if there is an alternative, a different program available, you will still see this in presentation, and the button to go and to do something will actually inform you that it's too late for this particular program, but this other program is available. Will give you those details, and then you can go through with that if you so choose. Again, this is something that has to be acted on quickly. Only 12 people can do this, and so that's the bottom line. Everyone else who's listening to this, it's going to be a fantastic education for you. So again, that's the third group, group of people, type of person that's going to be watching this, and it's intended to help you to start getting your thinking in the correct way instead of the wrong way that most people are doing it these days. Also, most of what I'm going to talk about today is not part of the Extreme Real Estate program at all, so don't try to connect dots or that. I don't do that. The Extreme Real Estate Investing program is a separate thing altogether, and I'm not divulging any information, so don't try to make any ties, because there's really none to be had. So let's get into this issue today. Now, there's certain things that I'm going to tell you, certain details I'm going to let you in on. And there's others that I cannot, by law, disclose to you, so I won't. So if you find something that seems to be not disclosed to you, It's only because the law will prohibit me to do that. In this case, there's certain scenarios where I have to be careful what I say and how I say it. So you'll forgive me if something is not just blah out there. It's really cannot be disclosed in certain ways. So simply, they won't be. What I'm going to talk about is giving you this details about the program that you only 12 of you will have an opportunity to do, and simply the way I present it is the way it is. Okay, so let's get into the presentation at this point. Let's go to our screen, and let's get into this today. Let me fix that camera for you guys up there, and we will continue. This is an exclusive real estate investing opportunity. Now, it's one of the only ones that you're going to see that have to do with rentals. Now, of course, I'm not talking about rentals in terms of what standard real estate investors do, which they buy properties and they rent it out. That's not what I'm talking about. And here, I'm actually talking about actually being a renter, being an investor, but renting. So we're going to talk about a missing perspective that most people will never hear about in their life. Now, when we're talking about renting, we're also talking about making monthly payments. So this includes mortgages. So if you're paying a mortgage and you're not doing what I'm going to talk about in this program today, then you're missing out and you're doing it the wrong way. If you're renting any place, then also if you're not doing what I'm talking about here, then obviously you're missing out. And again, as I repeat, there's only a limited opportunity to do this program with us. So that you have to pay attention to and stick with us throughout the entire presentation. This is about land, lease, and profit. Land, lease, and profit. It's an exclusive program, as I said before, and it's due to a unique relationship with a special project that's separate. But we have a relationship with that project, and you can now earn income without owning real estate. I'll repeat that. You can now earn income without without owning real estate. You need only to rent or lease. And as I said in the beginning, and I'll be repeating it throughout, there's only 12 spots. That's why only 12 of you in 2020 will be the lucky ones. You'll be the lucky ones in 2020 hindsight. Okay? So that's again is the catchphrase, I guess, for this year. Now, wait a minute, you'll ask. It can't be legal for a renter to profit from renting, right? I mean, we all would say that. It can't be legal for a renter to profit from renting, right? So that's what everyone would figure and everyone would tell you. But in actuality, the truth is different from that thinking. So you will be wrong in thinking that you cannot grow financially independent by renting. Okay, so renting is a great opportunity if you know how to capitalize on it. Now, I'm going to show you examples of renters profiting from their renting. Now, in the residential setting where most of you are situated in, I think everybody's situated. If you're not buying, if you haven't purchased and you're paying a mortgage, because everyone's going to pay a mortgage unless you pay cash or you finish paying, but everyone's paying something. They're paying either a mortgage or rent in most cases. So in most of these cases, you are spending money every month. And the question is, are you making a profit from that expense? And this is a very key question because most people who are paying rent or mortgage, most of you are in danger. You're at risk, at great risk, because if anything happens to your source of income, of course, because since it's not tied to your expense, it's separate. And if any, so that source of income is separate from the expense that you have or your obligations. Then you have a problem if your source of income fades away or disappears, or you get sick and you cannot engage in your source of income, therefore you lose income. So then your expenses continue because, again, they're not tied into your source of income, right? It would be a great thing if your expenses were tied into your income so that if your income slows, then also your expenses can lower and slow, in comparison, or stop altogether. But that's not what's happening. Well, how you are set up to function is that you have this great expense, which is shelter, and that's going out, and it has nothing to do with your income. And so then you have that disconnection, and you have then possible a lot of room and space for failure, for having something happen and reduces your income, or you have loss of income. And then of course now your investment or your payments into a shelter, to your home where you live, is put at risk, and you can lose it, and many people have because of that system. So it's all about the thinking that you're using to do things in life. And basically we've been taught to do things a certain way. We've been shown models of doing it a certain way, and also the because of that we have certain structures and customs or patterns of behavior, even from professionals in the real estate business, landlords, etc. All the key players, all the stakeholders also succumb to standardized behaviors and expectations and whatnot. And so it kind of like freezes everyone into a set pattern of behavior, which for certain aspects or parts of the industry is good, but for you as an individual is very bad and negative. It doesn't work in your favor. And so what we're going to talk about is actually turning that around so that even this that's all set up against you, because it really actually is, it will benefit you instead of making it difficult for you to survive, and also difficult for you to get ahead and to overcome and to therefore become wealthy or grow in financial independence, even if you are renting. So, what do some people do to, and again, people do this to one degree or another. So, that has nothing to do with the fact that these are potential income, that these are possible, that people are actually doing this as we speak right now to one degree or another. And simply, these are things that you as a renter or you as a mortgage payer can also do. So, you have to understand this. Now, there's people who have home offices. I'm not going to get into tax benefits or things like that. There's a tax deduction if you have a home office, etc., etc. Those are things for you to discuss with your lawyers, to discuss with your tax accountants. I'm not giving you any financial advice. All I'm doing is showing you, telling you, or reminding you, or opening your eyes that these are things that people do, and you can do it as well. And I'm going to show you how these things can be done. But people have their own home offices. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. In most places, even with an HOA, a homeowners association, you can run a business from your home, from inside. In some, the homeowners association tells you that you can't, but in actuality, what they're saying is that you cannot have an outside appearance that you're running a business. So you cannot have like people advertising that people come there, and you can't have like a shingle out of the door outside on the lawn, I do taxes, or in the window. You can't have a sign on the door above the house. So obviously you can't park a truck, a commercial truck or car, have it parked outside, things like that. In other words, they want to discourage the look that someone is running a business and within the community. So that's perfectly fine. But that doesn't mean that inside your bedroom, one of the rooms inside your home, you cannot be in effect running a business or parts of your business. uh, that's obviously something that can be done. The second thing is the home workshop. You can actually have, if your business or the way you make money is building something or working on something, you need a workshop to do that. You can do that within a garage, if you have a garage or garage, whichever way you pronounce that. And there's other places on a property that can serve as a workshop. Like if you have a barn on your property, that can be turned into a workshop. If you have horse stables on your property, that can be turned into a workshop. A lot of things. A simple shed can be turned into a workshop, obviously. So this is things that people do. They have it already. They're making money. They're paying their rent, they're paying their mortgage, and they're making money on the property they're paying rent and mortgage on, and they're making it work for them. People in their kitchen. There's people who know how to bake cakes. There's people who know how to cook up some good food. In both of those cases, if you're great in the kitchen, you can have a kitchen that's making money for you. There's a lot of things that you can do with your kitchen to make it work for you, to make profit and pay your rent and pay your mortgage and have your rent and mortgage pay you, you know, because you're paying for these facilities that you can turn into something that's creating income. If you're really good in the kitchen, you can also start a cooking school. Now you don't have to make it all official in that, but if you're part of a church and you're the only one that knows how to make certain type of food and whatnot, and you can give classes and have people come in during the summer months, during the evenings, whatever, the weekends, and take that class with you and pay you every week to for them to get another lesson for you to see how they do and watch. That's a really good idea. And I'll give you another hint out there. If you're having problems making ends meet, but you know how to cook up something and you can teach somebody, you can have them come to your kitchen. They have to bring the food and you tell them what to bring and all of that. And this is a food, and you can have them contribute to the home as well. The food, a little, you bring this for the class, and this extra is just to help out along with your fee. And so you can do a lot of things like that, and also help you and your family have a little extra grub in the cupboard and some money in the pocket, and that's another way for you to make this work for yourself. Baking cookies, cakes. You can post this stuff up on Facebook, in the marketplace, Craigslist. We're going to make some particular type of ethnic foods, especially really good, especially if you're in an area that's just now growing in the ethnicity and there's not a lot of options for people, and you can help people make this kind of stuff and have it to eat if it's complicated, normally. That's just a perfect scenario for you I know in the Spanish there's pasteles that we enjoy a lot, and so it's a lot of work to do that. So if someone can go and they're expert at doing that and it's easy for them, well, then they can make it for everyone else who's too busy to start making that complex of a dish. And so, yeah, and that's a money making opportunity. You guys can pay your mortgage, pay your rent, and make your rent and mortgage pay for itself in that sense for you. Now, home crafts and sales is another thing. We have a lot of people know how to do things. These are old traditional. I think these are called carriage. I believe the name was a cottage. These are cottage industries. What are cottage industries? They're trades or businesses, little micro businesses that people traditionally have done from the home. So they're called cottage because when we had cottages, what did they do? They made candles, they made their own, jams, right? And stuff like that. They jarred. They did a lot of putting into jars, a lot of preserving of foods, and they put them in jars. They made their own clothes. They made bedspreads. They made the quilts, and all. So all of these different little crafts and things. These are referred to legally, actually, as cottage industries. Now, cottage industries are, I believe, they can't be ever illegal. Um, and I'll look this up for another program that I do in the future, but I think it's actually against the law to call any cottage industry illegal. I'll look that up. I came across something one day in my memory that pretty much protected cottage industries forever. But in any case, these are things that people have been doing for eons and eons. I mean, this is like the basic humanity. And just as a little side to that, and we'll get to that in a moment, farming as well is one of those things that you really can't, you got some soil outside, you can't really and shouldn't really restrict someone from, growing things, especially in the environmental issues that we're having this day and age. It should be a no-brainer to let people grow things, okay? But anyway, we didn't go into that detail yet. But doing things from home, making things, fabricating stuff from your home, and putting it for sale, trading it for things. These are age-old practices, and I think that in today's modern age, we really just forgot about doing it. And I think it's something that really should be returned to. We should return to that and encourage that because the financial situation, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. The more we separate ourselves from the traditional way of doing things. I think we're getting disconnected and getting too far away from the earth. So we need to get back to that, and also in our thinking. It's a general philosophy that I have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree with that. The fifth thing here is computer work. Computer work of all types that you can do, virtual assistant type of work, video studios. I'm doing my video from my home office here. So I'm using where I pay my monthly payments, like you would be doing for mortgages, for your rental. So I'm using it to make money from my computer and the space that I'm paying for. So again, it's making the space you're paying for pay you an income, make you an income so that you can prosper. And so this is the main idea. Not just looking at a home as just home. This is just a home, just a home. In the old days, it was never just a home. It was always the home. It was always work. It was the family business. It was always the family legacy. And I think that in modern days, we're slowly drifting off into a wilderness and not understanding that the tools and the resources you need to succeed is right there. You're already paying for it, except you're not profiting from it. Printing, you get a printer. Which type of printer you should get for your computer is a big question people have. And the bottom line is get the printer that makes you money. That should be the answer. It should be a no-brainer. Get the printer that makes you money. So there's printers that do graphic work. There's printers that do 3D printing. Again, you can sell things on the 3D. You can make things for other people, charge them on the 3D. These are not big businesses, but these are things that you can do to make money from the resources and the space that you're already spending on. There's engravers that you can get and do engraving for people. Now, there's engraving services around and things like that. There's 3D services around, things like that. What you want to concentrate on is not just offering services to other people, but actually creating your own products. Of course, trying to, if someone needed something done on a 3D, it's not a business for you to really go trying to get.
But you can always make your own stuff and sell your own stuff. There's no competition there. Who can compete? It's your design. You created it. Something someone said to you, when you were a little kid. You remember it. Put that, make that into a 3D object, whatever. Um, and there's other types printing also, like t-shirt printers, right? And things like that. You mean you can make your own worded t-shirts and things of phrases that you heard, things that you thought of in your own mind, and no one can compete against that. This is your own creation. That's your own t-shirt. They can only get it from you, etc., etc. So these are things that will always be have a market for them because they are unique and they're exclusive to you. Then there's home-based services. One of the most common home-based service is daycare. It's very common all over the United States. Daycare is something you don't have to. There's laws in your areas. Different states have different laws. Okay, but to one degree or another, most people could run a daycare from their home. And again, there's other restriction. If you look here in the impacts, this list here are the things that affect your ability to do these ideas and to what degree and to what extent. The impact is what determines what you can do or cannot do. And the first thing that impacts that is zoning. What is the zoning, right? That's an overall impact of what you can do. And overall, that is what is legal. First of all, that's the big one, right? So you have to start from the federal government, go down to your state statutes, etc. What is legal to be done in your state, particularly, but also you want to worry about the federal laws, right? Then the zoning within your area, of course, is very important for you to know what your options are. Two is the homeowners association, because the homeowners association, they can add to the zoning more restriction, but you have to also be very you have to be a little smart about these homeowners association and zoning issues, because really you have to see what it is that is not allowed. So just don't go by when people say, "Oh, you can't have a business in your home." Don't go by that. Simply, make sure you read what the homeowners association actually says, and actually what they can have authority over. Because, like I said, there's certain cottage industries that no one can interfere with. And basically, who can tell if you're making candles in your bathroom? I mean, it's you're making candles and then you're putting them up for sale on eBay. What does that have to do with any homeowners association? It really doesn't impact. Most of the homeowners association, they're concerned with the appearance of the neighborhood. They're concerned with quality of life in the neighborhood and the community. So anything that leaves your house, even smells, that is a concern of the homeowners association. So you have to be aware that anything that escapes your home, that comes out of your house, to where a neighbor and someone walking by the street can see it, then that begins to be a homeowners association concern, and it also becomes a zoning issue as well. Although the zoning issue really is more encompassing than that, it could and should, and most accounts dictate what happens inside the home to some level of degree. Again, you have to look at the zoning and see how that affects whatever you're trying to do here. In all, you have to check the laws and make sure you're in conformity with the laws. Many laws allow you to do things in a small way in your home without need for licensing, without need for any certification or anything like that. So you need to do your homework. Every place is very different. So you have to do your homework wherever you are. But I've never seen any property in which you couldn't do something, okay, other than what's normal for that property otherwise. So there's always a way to get more money out of a rental or a mortgage type of situation. Again, like I mentioned before with the cooking, Yes, the other thing about daycare, I want to say also that the landlords can restrict what you're doing. What happens is that the landlord, the owner of the property, if you're renting, is the first place that the government or the zoning people, the homeowners association deals with. They're the first line. So, and the final line actually also. So they're the ones most concerned with what goes on in the property. So the landlord is really the first person that you deal with. You usually don't deal with the homeowners association unless you're the owner. And they're usually the last person you deal with because they're the ones really that own the property. They're the ones responsible for what happens on the property. So in your lease with the landlord, it's going to specify what you can do and what you can't do in that. But we're going to talk more about that later on when we get there. You can also sublet again if it's permitted in your lease agreement. A bedroom, you can make money from renting out a bedroom from a garage, or a shed. These things can be sublet if you're allowed to, and then you can make income from this subletting activity. This was one common one. I'm going to be a little tongue in cheek here, but actually, in the old days in the projects, this was one that usually got the rent paid, no matter what. In these housing authority project apartments. Not saying that everyone does that. Not saying that, but that's quite a bit of the oldest profession going on, and these people pay the rent. Now, the honest folks, and not to put down people who need to do this. I'm not putting you guys down, but I'm just doing basic social, moral type of things and whatnot. People doing the moral thing, people trying to do things in a moral fashion and whatnot. You guys most often get into rent problems and delays, and things happen with the checks, coming in and stuff like that, banking issues. So you guys, and then you trying to make ends meet and whatnot, but there's a group of people who are using the rent that they're paying and making a lot of money from their day-to-day old profession, and they can pay the rent and they have no money problems other than working to get it. Then we have the garden, as I mentioned a little bit before. I mean, you got the garden space. That's a really good spot. There's people, there's backyards. I know that there are some farmers that will rent your backyard. If you have a good sized backyard, you can rent it to a farmer, a local farmer who does this type of thing, who uses other people's backyards to do his farming. There are people who do that, and you can sublet your backyard to a farmer. He'll come in, he'll take care, he'll cut the rest of your grass for you, and he'll go and he'll grow half of your yard or whichever part of your yard you're going to let him use, and he'll grow his vegetables there and whatnot, and he'll pay you a rent for every month that he's there using that and reserving that space for himself. So that's a way. Also, they'll do. You can sublet for food. I mean, they'll do food, and there's ornamental. You can have garden, and you can actually do your own and um, sell what you grow. There. Let me give you an example of a zoning that is prohibits certain activities. Yet you can get away with doing this now. There's a certain type of plant. I'm going to give you all the secret details. That I won't give you here. That is something that really it's for another program or for a course that I would give, or for some special people that I really, really like and giving the great ideas. But there's certain types of plants that you can grow that can make you great money if you know what to do with the plants. If you process the plants in a certain way, you can make money from the things you sell with that plant. The good thing about that is, even though that would be typically done as a farm or on a big scale, you can do that in any garden, actually. And the places that restrict how you use your land to a small garden or only gardening. They don't allow any crops or any commercial enterprise and this and that. Um, okay, so that's what the zoning is. That's what the homeowners association says. Fine, but there's certain plants that like they go below the radar. So that means that it's not really something that the homeowners association can point to and say, well, that you shouldn't be growing here. Why? It's a beautiful plant. So again, they can't stop you really or say that you're doing anything with those plants when they are perfectly great garden plants. So here's the situation where you can have a beautiful garden, you can just create a wonderful garden and actually make good money and great income from just that. And the homeowners association and the zoning would have no way and no idea that you are actually making a lot of money from that garden. But actually you can. So there's ways of doing this. You just have to know what you're doing. Knowledge is power, is key. Okay, so you have to know what you're doing, what to do, and what to take care of. Sorry about that. Now, the last thing is livestock. Livestock falls into the same type of categories, and we'll tell you why. There's a certain types of animals that are livestock. So whenever you see livestock, don't assume that that's all animals. It isn't. Livestock is a particular range of animals. Okay, anything that falls out of that's not considered livestock is not livestock. So if you have any zoning restrictions that say livestock that you can or you cannot, understand that there's a whole group of other animals that are not livestock. Okay, so that opens up some avenues. Okay, so you have to understand that. So livestock, small animals, can always be done depending on the restrictions you have. The restrictions again being zoning, homeowners association, the lease, and the landlord. Okay, so everyone can grow fish. You can all breed fish, so you can have fish. There's people who grow fish, who breed, who create certain strains, or you're able to do certain types of fish. You should show them, especially their variety types of fish, and you were able to produce a very nice, distinctful design or color from breeding, and you got that pretty much set. That's a pretty good thing. You can do that out of your home. There's you just you got your fish tank. The people do this with dogs, and you all know who you are. They got a pit bull. I know a lot of guys in the housing project. They got their pit bull. That's an income stream. When you see these pit bulls, people with these pit bull or some, and the white folk, they have their breeds. The other type of dog, the fancy dogs, the sissy dogs. And but the hood dogs are the tough ones, right? The pit bull, yeah. So anyway, that's just the funny part of this video. Um, you guys breed dogs, and they give birth, and you just put it up there in your Facebook. Hey, I got and the dog gave birth this week. I got some nice puppies, pit bull puppies. You got the colors. Here they are. Anybody want? Just hit me up, and you guys make some business. And so there's people who do this different places, different ways. You got dogs. You can do this with cats and with any other animal that you're allowed, obviously, to have within your zone, within the homeowners association, within the lease agreement, and your landlord. All right, so that's just a few things that people do in the residential. The only difference between residential property and commercial property is that in commercial property, you can do anything that's business. Business. That's what it's there for. So that land is designated commercial. So you can do most business activities on commercial property. That's what it is. So you don't have the problem of the zoning, and necessarily the zoning and the homeowners association and all these restrictions to deal with. This is a commercial property. It's pretty much more easier to do business in a commercial property. The lease agreements tend to be very open in many different ways, and so that's a better opportunity, of course. You can scale your business according to space that you have. The location also will determine more or less how you engage a commercial property, how, if you buy it, if you rent it only, many considerations that you have to have with that. And then it makes, but usually a successful business in a commercial property will make more money for the renter than it is for the owner simply just owning the property outright. So you can make more money by making the rental work for you, because the rental is less money outlay, less debt that you add to your business, and the profits as you go along day to day are higher, and most it should be mostly very high multiples than the landlord is ever going to make from that property itself. So that's the way it's supposed to be. And and also you need to look at the short-term benefits over the long term, right? Which will make the difference if you rent or if you apply for a mortgage and pay a mortgage as you go along. Okay. So then you have the farm. A farm is another type of land, and I put here, is this a special type of residential land? Because usually the farm will is tied to a farmhouse. Usually, it doesn't have to have a farmhouse. So farmland does not have to have a farmhouse, but it can have, and it's allowed. You're allowed to have at least one farmhouse on a deeded property that's a farmland or agriculturally zoned. So, but realize that it's just another type of residential. It has any size lot can be farmed. It doesn't mean that it's zoned for agriculture. One of the things they do with agriculturally zoned areas is that it has a larger acreage minimum to it. So it's usually, well, at least around here in Florida, mostly you have 5 acres, I think is a minimum. And so obviously you can have one farmhouse and 5 acres, in the center or at the edge of 5 acres of farmland. That's basically how it goes here. So that's what you have. There are certain instances where land has been grandfathered in. There's certain instances where you can have your land rezoned as farmland, but that again goes by place to place because every place is different. Then we have your trees. You can have food trees, ornamental trees. You can have plants that are also food plants and ornamental plants again, and livestock, as we said before, and not livestock, living animals that aren't livestock on the farm. Okay, so that pretty much gives you a full range of activities, of produce, of livestock or not livestock designated animals, and a whole bunch of things that can most probably be done by someone who's renting or someone who is paying a mortgage. Um, for those things that need permissions, I've seen landlords give people, I've seen landlords, let me talk about lease for a second. A lease is an agreement between the owner and the renter, okay? So if you're an owner, you don't have this issue. You just decide what you want to do on your property, and then you only have to deal with the homeowners association, neighbors, and zoning, okay? So that's your business. But if you're a renter, you have to deal with the lease agreement. So let's say a legally determined lease. In other words, there's no such thing as this is the official lease of the United States of America. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as an official lease agreement for the state that you're in or for even the city that you're in. There's no such animal because people make agreements. You can make any agreement you want. Again, the people, parties in the agreement have to submit to laws, what the laws allow, obviously. But just because something is, you go to Staples or another place and get a lease, the lease has options that people can use or don't use. You're not required to agree with everything on a lease. And there's things on the lease that can be negotiated between you and the owner. Again, don't look at contracts and leases as these are written in stone. They are not written in stone. They remember there's one key to remember in anything in real estate and in business in general, and that is that most people are lazy. When you're dealing with real estate salespeople and brokers, they're lazy. In owners, landlords, they're lazy. And people renting, they're even lazier still. Okay? So with lazy, meeting with lazy, let's do this quick and simple. What you have is a standard agreement. So what landlords do is they go and they buy a standardized lease agreement and they come to you and they, this is the lease and we can sign that and that'll be it. This is lazy. Okay? And that's the lazy way to do that. And what happens is that this will restrict you needlessly when there's things that the landlord is able to give you permission to do, and you can do them, and it'll make it easier for you to do the things that you need to do or you want to do to make it more profitable for you to rent. So I've seen it many times, I'm sure some of you have as well, where the landlord has something written on the lease, and if you talk to the landlord, say, listen, this is the things I have, this is my experience. Sometimes my job, they quit like for 2 months, they close down the shop, and I'm out of work for 2 months, and we're going, I could be able to pay without stopping your rent if you let me sublet, because if I sublet one of the rooms, I can have help during those months that we go dry. And if you're an entrepreneur and whatnot, and that's your situation, you can talk to the landlord and say, I would really appreciate if you allow me to sublet, or I can sublet so that I can use some of these spaces that I won't be using, and I can use that to make sure that your rent is paid on time and fully. We won't have any issues. So the landlord, the one thing that the owner wants, they want their rent. They want their rent on time. They don't want to have any issues. So, and if you came across to the landlord very amicably, he likes you, they like that feeling they get with you, and your seriousness and your frankness, you know, they may come, okay, you can sublet. Let me cross this out in the contract, and you can sublet and get somebody in. I have to check them out. Let me check them out first for you to make sure you ain't getting no bum in here or someone who has a history of sticking people up for unpaid rent or anything like that. But I'll accept if I approve them. I'll accept them so you can sublet, and that'll be fine. You can do that also with commercial more easily. You can get the subletting done. Again, you have to ask for it. You have to negotiate with the landlord. But these are things that can be done, and the landlord is all within their power to grant you these things. So always negotiate. If you know that you can first find a good sublease partnership or agreement, and you can convince the landlord that this is something that you need to do, and you appreciate if they can make that accommodation. That holds true with other things, the dogs and cats, fish, The gardening, and I garden, I can plant anything. Yeah, or get these things agreed to, so they know that that's what you're going to be doing while you're renting. You're going to make that those little 3 or 4 plants they have there. You're going to turn that into a garden space. You have to let them know what you need and agree to that, and put that. You agree to let them do gardening, however they see fit, and sublet. They need that. You can look for that, and that's something that you can be looking for also while you're looking for a place to move to or a place to live, that you can get some concessions from your landlord and various items. Usually, again, the home cottage thing, the cottage industries, you don't have to worry about mainly, but at certain areas you want to ask for certain permissions, and you just tell them, listen, I got the printing equipment, but it needs to have a vent. I need to have it venting. I need to put it in the garage. Can I put a vent in? It'd be my cost, my expense to have the vent in, and at least the garage can breathe, and the printer can have its way of exhausting any fumes and things like that. So if you have that, and you just mention it like that, sometimes the landlord would say, "Oh yeah, okay, that's not a problem. You can do that. Um, I'll come by to check up on the work as it's being done, but that's okay. That's all right." And then you can do it. You see, so the whole point is being able to get as much leeway as you can. Don't be afraid of contracts. Don't be afraid of asking for permissions to be added, or restrictions in the lease to be taken away, stricken, and noted that the landlord is giving you permission to do X, Y, or Z. So that's what you have to look for. These are the things that are being done anyway. People are doing these things. They're growing, they're raising fish in their garages. They're raising livestock or not livestock, other animals, and they're doing that, selling those. A lot of things people are doing to make their rent pay, bring in income for themselves, and make a difference. Now, why do people choose to rent? People choose to rent simply because it's affordable and or convenient. I mean, when you think about buying the house, you have to put up so much down payment. You have to deal with credit issues, etc. Even if you're doing this for real estate investing, you still have to deal with getting some loans, getting mortgages, paying for a mortgage, etc., etc. And so, again, it is substantial if you're wanting to build up a portfolio, a significant portfolio. It does become very costly, very front end loaded on the front end. So most people will opt to rent. I know that I rented because we were waiting for a particular piece of property that was held by a foundation, and didn't look like, after a few years we've been waiting, it doesn't look like they'll be letting that go, because foundations are foundations after all. So we're, looking for properties that we're going to be then considering. But the case is that at times it is actually convenient to rent, more convenient. And again, it depends on the situation. Everyone's situation is different. Rent is either affordable or convenient in many cases, and so that's why people do it. But again, it doesn't matter if someone is renting or if someone is paying a mortgage or owning. If you're not making money from your rental or your mortgage, you are missing the whole game. You're really not doing the right thing, or things that you could be doing. What's the negative in renting? It's just what I just said. Simply, most renters don't profit from their expended 33% of their income, and which are rent payments, right? Think about this. You're spending 33%. Usually, when you're being approved or considered for a house rental, or an apartment rental for that matter, They go by guidelines, income to rent guidelines, and it usually falls to about the 33 percentile mark, which means that a whole big third of your income goes out just for the rent payment. And doing it like everyone else does at the standard fare is that's really money that is not making money for you. It doesn't make any money for you. If you're not doing anything, then that money is not making any money for you. So it's money that's given away. And you can say, yeah, but I have a roof over my head. It's for something. It's an expense, and you're making no profit from it. You may have sweated that at your job, at your work, your business. You sweated for it, you got it, and a whole third of that just goes boom out to cover your home life, your home experience, your family's shelter, and it's gone. It's forever gone. And you didn't do anything with it. You don't have any returns from it, and that's the saddest part. It's a third of your life. If you think about it, a third of your life is going away. Okay, and this is the reason that you'll hear people say that buying is better, because at least you own you're still throwing it out away from you, but at least it's going into your own property that you can then later resell and regain value, more value than just that you lived in. So the renter doesn't gain value, right? See how the thinking works out there? The thinking is that if you're renting, you're not making any money from this money that you're spending every month. Now, if you're buying, you're paying a mortgage, you're paying the property, well, then you're doing better only because you're still spending the money every month, but only because when you sell, you're able to regain some of that money back. The money that you put into it's not necessarily regained. And it's not regained, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you take a mortgage out, the mortgage bank is trying to get like 3 times the value of that home. So if you're buying a $250,000 home, your mortgage bank is trying to make 3 times the value of that home over the lifespan of the mortgage. Not that you're going to spend all that time paying for that mortgage and whatnot, but that's the thing. When you sell, if you sell earlier than paying for it all, which is what most people recommend that you do, what happens is that you are making some profit. Hopefully the market goes up. The higher the market goes up, that's the profit margin you're hoping to make, right? You're hoping to make that profit margin. That's the only salvation, if you will, for buying your house. If you're renting, you have nothing, because of course you did nothing while you were renting to make money. But the owner makes nothing either, except that as the values go up in the neighborhood, that money, that extra padding, is what they take home with them, with probably some equity, probably if they can get it out from what they paid into, but not all of it, because again, you're paying the mortgage interest. They're getting that money just because they lent the money for you to live in that house. They're basically loaning you money to rent the house. Basically, is what's happening, and to own the right to make whatever profit when you sell the house later. Basically, it's what it boils down to. Okay? So, now the question remains though, if you could profit up through $40,000 a year plus while renting, that means because you are renting a piece of property, you're able to profit $40,000 from you renting that, and obviously doing some other things with it. Which would you choose? Would you choose to buy then a house or property, or would you then rent? See? So buying, again, what does buying do? It gives you the asset, control of the asset. You decide when to sell. and basically you're waiting for the market to go up a little bit and get that padding is really what you're looking for. And that can take anywhere from 10 years or more. So let's go by the 10-year mark. 10 years, you hold on to a piece of property you're paying a monthly rent on, a monthly payment, and you're paying most of that 10 years is interest. So it's not really the principal, but you're paying that interest there, you're paying part and part, whatnot. But you have then in 10 years, let's say the property goes up, let's just put a figure there, 50,000, or what, 100,000 maybe, 10 years. Okay, just go by 100,000, and you figure that when you sell it, if this buyer isn't knocking you down, which they're always trying to do that, you're looking at walking away from that house with, up to $100,000 as a profit or gain from the house that you purchased. Again, you got to take away from that the down payment you put in. You got to take away from that the payments you made, really, which, it can easily, 10 years could be another $8,000 or so. Let's just say 20,000 just to be comprehend the different credit rates and all that. So you're looking at what did I say? 60. You're looking at 100, and you spent in the house 100,000. You practically spent 100,000, if not more, in between the mortgage payments and between the mortgage payments uh, and having what you paid and the profit. So again, you're going to looking at 100,000, give or take away what you're going. If you can see, it's not a lot of money for 10 years of paying the mortgage in the house. Now, let's go to the guy who's renting, then and making 40,000 a year from the rental. He may have a still job. Still has a job. He could still have his own business, X, Y, Z. But from the rental itself, he's doing more than the guy with the mortgage, because the guy with the mortgage, all he did was do what everyone else does, just live in the house. But this guy who's renting, he's making 40,000 a year from the rental of his house. And so what happens, or from the property? And what happens that after 10 years, how much money did he make? He walks away after 10 years, assuming he put everything in a bank or in some other investment. He walks away with $400,000. Right? He leaves the property to the owner. The owner keeps the property, and the owner gets his 100,000, and the owner thinks it's a great day. It's happy day. Oh, happy day, right? They sold my house. I got 100,000 in my pocket. Yeah, I'm smart. But the renter walks away with $400,000. So again, which one is better, buying or renting? Now the best thing is to buy and do and be able to do what the renter is able to do here, right? Again, but you don't. The whole point is that you don't have to buy to do what the renter is now able to do, and therefore you spent less money to do it, and you made more profits. So I'm going to talk to you now about what you're getting in this particular offer that I'm talking about today. What we're talking about is an opportunity to rent my land and for you to profit from it. So what you're going to get with this, again, in this limited offer is the following. Number one, we're going to have a rental lease agreement for a portion of my land. Number two, you're going to guarantee a renewal as long as you're a tenant and you make your tenant efforts maintained throughout all the years that you are doing this with us. You are guaranteed renewal. Okay, so you're not going to lose any standing. The only thing that qualifies you to remain as a tenant on my property is for you to maintain your effort. Now, the effort is explained to you in a PDF, which I talk about later. It explains to you how you're going to profit from my land, and you have to maintain the effort. That's the requirement. Okay, so as long as you do that, there's no issue with renewing the lease time and time again, and there's no increase, by the way, in your rental payments. None. You just stay with it. That's the way it stays that way for good. Okay. The third thing you get today is a full PDF detailing each profit program, and right now there's 4, and there will be 5 by the time most of you see this video, so that you can immediately begin to develop your land lease into significant income streams. So that's what you're getting with the land rental. The agreement is you get the land, you get the space allotment, you pay the rent, and you are able to profit from that rental. You're able to profit from that rental as long as you maintain the effort. Okay, that's outlined in the PDF, and that's it. Okay, you have number 4, rights to use one or all of the profit strategies detailed with the renter's profit from land PDF, which is the PDF you get. It's the name of it. The renter's profit from land PDF. You can use 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or all 5 of the profit strategies that are in there. You're not restricted to how many or how few you want to do. Okay, but remember, what is the qualification? What is the maintenance of the efforts? Whatever you do and how many you do, you have to maintain the effort. So that's the key. And lifetime updates are included with addendums to your rental lease, adding more strategies whenever available, because more things will come down the line as years progress, whenever available and applicable to your rented lot space. And then you'll get weekly live training providing, and that's as long as the weekly live training is needed for each program. And when new programs come, of course, you will get those live trainings as well. So if this applies to each program, and any new program that comes down the line and applies to your lease, you will get that training. Again, there's no extra cost, there's no extra fees, there's nothing extra. This is part of this parcel, plain and simple. Weekly live training providing Q&A, questions and answers, and practical help and guidance. So you're going to get help and guidance along the way of making sure, because you'll understand why I'm interested in making sure you know what to do and that you actually go and do it. Okay, so there's a reason for that. Now, number 7, you get also is a flexible rental payment, because some of you are asking right now, how much is this going to cost? Some of you, you're worried about what your budget is, because again, the whole issue is having enough money, isn't it? Okay, so the answer to that is that you decide how much. I'm going to give you that decision, how much you want or you can uh, put into this rental every month. That's your decision, but you're going to have to make one decision today, and you have to stick with it for the rest of your life. That's it. Okay. And I'll explain something later to you also. And the final benefit right now with this is that you get a survival benefit, which means that you are able to transfer this rental agreement to your spouse, to your children, if something happens to you or whenever you decide to do that. Again, you can transfer it only to your survivors, only. They have to be your spouse or your children, okay? There's no other transfer allowed. Simply to your family, as long as you are alive, as long as one of them are living, and you have made that transfer, they will get that transfer. At least put it in our agreement that you want to transfer to your spouse, and if your spouse is not alive either, then it goes to your surviving children or heirs, and that's the way that works. That is something you have to make sure you leave in place before anything happens. Of course, that is can be done at any time while you are in the agreement. It becomes part of the agreement, and stipulating who gets what and when, that's up to you at any time. Now, how is this offer limited? It's limited because there's only 12 people. The acreage of land it's already divided into 12 lots, and these lots have been predetermined by one of the modules, one of the programs that you will have the authority and the right to do, which uses the most amount of space. And so it's based on that. And then there's only 12 who, not everyone will want to do that particular program, but we need to have the space in case they do and whenever they want to do it. So obviously that the control is to have the space for everyone to do all of the programs, even though not everyone will be doing all the programs, but you should actually do all the programs. So this land offer is only limited to 12 people right now. That's it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Only 12 of the fast um, action takers are going to be able to do this. And that's it. Okay? So it's a limited opportunity. As always, the good things are it's very limited. The first 12 that click the button, you decide how much you're going to pay, and we're going to talk about that as a monthly rent. We're going to talk about that right after that. But know that you don't have a lot of time to waste. You have to move on this right away. What are the different rental payment levels? You choose the plan best for you. The first plan is the lowest. It's $100 a month. That's the lowest rental. Now, the size of your space does not reduce, but the percentage of the profits do. Okay? So that's the way this works for you. So if you choose the lowest amount, $100, you'll get 10% of the realized profits. You can do all of the 5 different programs, the same as everyone else, but 10% of the profits from your programs will be your profit, will come to you. Okay? And then if you do $200 a month, 20% of the profits will go to you. And it continues in like manner. $300 a month, $400 a month, 40%, $500 a month, 50%, $600 a month, 60%, $700 a month, 70%, $800 a month, 80%, $900 a month, 90%, and $1,000 a month is 100%. All the profits go to your pocket. Now, you have to realize what we're talking about here. So, given one of the programs, the smallest program, produces the 40,000 plus per year. So let's just use that figure, 40,000. Now, 40,000, 10% of 40,000 is what? Is 4,000. Um, but you're only paying $1,200 in a year, and you're making 4,000. So that's pretty good. That's like what, 3-4 times return on your money. So that works. It's okay, right? So it's not like $100. You're getting your money worth with $100, so that's still good. At 200, you'll be making twice that, and 30% of 40, then 40% of 400, 50% of stuff. And again, this is just one of the programs. One of the programs. You have 5, and there's some of the programs make way more money than that 40,000. So, doing the 100, if that's all you can afford, it's okay. It's good. You're doing good. If you can do the 200, you're doing better. It's just as simple as that. There can be nothing more simpler than this possible. This is very good. It's very reasonable. And again, the only problem with this program is that there are only 12 people will be able to do this. There's no refunds, of course, ever. You are renting month. Every month you have a lease and all that, but basically every month you're renting, and that is it. You're using it to within the guidelines of the PDF that you get, and that's it. You make it work for yourself. You have to maintain the effort. This is your effort. Nothing happens if you don't do anything. Nothing happens. This is simple rental. This is a rental agreement. I'm just giving you also a guide of how to make this money with this rental. Simple. That's all that's happening. You have to do the work that's involved. And what is the effort that you have to do? It's mainly placing announcements. It's the same thing as if you own the property yourself. And look at what I'm doing. I'm letting people know I am renting this. If you own a four apartment building, real estate, you would advertise in Craigslist. Hey, I got an apartment ready to rent. This is the rent. This is the way it is. There's a picture of the kitchen of the. So you people who are landlords, people involved in real estate and any type of land or real estate, they're putting up pictures and saying, hey, I got something for rent. This is something that is available. So basically, you are doing the same type of thing, not exactly the same, but it's the same type of thing. You're just putting an announcement that, hey, this is something that we're doing, this is something that's going on. This is the information. You want more information, go here, call this number, blah, blah, blah. That's all. It's the same type of thing if you own the building and you were renting an apartment. Same type of thing. You see it all the time on even on Facebook, the marketplace. You see people, landlords, posting a room for rent or a horse stable, rent the horse stable. There's people with boat docks, rent the boat docks. I got this boat dock. You can rent your dock. There's people with RV spaces. Hey, I got this RV space available. It measures so and so, this and this is that, and that's it. And that's what people do when you're in real estate, when you're dealing with property and you're dealing with something of value. That's what people do. Normal people do that. It's regular things that people do. And this program, same idea, same type of concept. You're just posting an announcement. This is what's available. This is something that you can get. You like this. You're interested in that. Here, go to this place, this URL, or call this number, blah, 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 and get more information. And that's basically all you have to do. You have to maintain the effort, though. You have to be maintaining the effort, and that means that you have to do it as something you're working on. If you had the land and you were farming apples on it, for example, you would announce, "Hey, I got the new apples have started ripening. We got basketfuls, $1, $5." You would put in there because you got so many apples and oranges or whatever it is you could grow on your land, and you need to get rid of it. You need to make a profit from it. So it's the same sort of thing. This is real estate. This has to deal with property. It has to deal with um, all the different things that a property can do. You would have to be announcing about it and letting people know that this and that is available. Look into it. Here's the number. Here's the address. Whatever. So there's nothing strange or foreign in this concept at all. It's just, hey, if you're renting, you're dealing with properties. This is what the five or one of the programs involved with this property, and then this is what you need to post, and that's simple as can be. Okay, so for many of you, it's the closest thing to real estate investing you're ever going to do in your life, and this one is actually the best one. Okay, we got frequently asked questions. What are they? What is your refund policy? No refund. How can you get a refund? You're paying rent. Simply, you have a month and month and month. You have access to the programs that we gave you, access to making money in relation to this land allotment that you get as part of your rent. Simple. You just do what you need to do. If you choose 1 month not to do anything, 2 months not to do anything, that's your issue, your prerogative. The only problem with that is that we are always checking that you are maintaining an effort to to announce the programs and to do them. So that's the only thing. So you're risking, if you don't do anything at all, you're risking losing your rental agreement. Of course, I'm a human being. If you get sick, you're definitely sick in the hospital, you just can't do anything, you had a car accident, just call. I mean, we're people. I'm the landlord like any other landlord. Let me know. Okay, what's happening, and we'll make an arrangement, and that's fine. But again, just don't. You have to show that you're doing an effort, making an effort, and that's really the main qualification for you. But did I say? Did I mention something? I didn't. Let me get back to that. I'm sorry. Let me get back to that here in a second. Let me. There's something I had to show you, which I didn't. So I'm gonna go back to something in here that I forgot to mention, and that was this thing. It says realized profits and bonus. Now, when you see that bonus thing there, that's something that again is also affected by your rental rate. In other words, your return on the rent rate. So if you have, because everyone's getting the same bonus here, it's the same thing, but it doesn't mean the same thing for each of you because it depends on which plan, which level of rent you're going to be paying every month. So if you're only paying the 10%, the $100 a month, you're only getting 10% of the realized profits and 10% of the bonus. The guy that put in 100% of the rental payment here, he or she gets 100% of the profit plus 100% of the bonus. So understand that they're all getting the same thing, but you get out of it in the percentage that you put in. So if you're only doing the 10% option, you're only getting 10% of the bonus, and if you're getting doing the 100%, you get 100% of the bonus. That becomes important in the following, in the question, one of the questions that come up here following this. So just remember that. Is this a regular land lease? And the answer to that is yes, it is. It's absolutely a regular land lease. It has a restriction in terms of what you can do on the property, and it's basically restricted to the 5 programs that we discuss and anything else that I allow into it that will be added as an addendum. That's the only thing. So you're renting the property plus the right to do the exclusive right and the limited use of the programs that we have. So that explains where that is. Number 3, will I be able to visit the lot and stay on my leased space? The answer to that question is in 4 of the 5 programs, no. But in one of them, yes. So one of them actually is like a vacation rental type of thing. So yes, in that program, if you have chosen to do that program, then you will be able to visit the lot and stay on that space. In some of the others, you will be able to visit the lot actually and go on the property. But there's really, there's not going to be anything there necessarily unless you have done that particular program, which is a basic improvement or development on the property itself. And there's another one that there is something actually physically on the property. Yes. So there's actually 2 that you can actually go and see. You'll actually know what's going on and how it develops, and you'll be able to go visit and see it for whatever reason you want to. Just that you feel, hey, you're paying rent on this is fine. So that's beautiful. That's okay. Yes. But usually that's not necessary
but we do encourage you to go to the property and stay on it when you do that other program that's like the vacation rental thing, because you will be the first one. We want you to be the first one to stay on there and to experience it, and usually I will be able to be there in person, and to have meetings with you one or twice, and allow you just to explore after that. But I'll try to do as long as I can fit it into my schedule, where I will be there with you when you go. So that's the answer to that. Normally, no. In the first few months, no. There's no point in going. But and and you can always visit. All you're going to see is land, but um, there's no place to stay unless you did that one program that actually develops your space into a living area. Okay, so that answers that question. Now, if you now the question is, if I'm sorry, how long does it take to start seeing profits from my efforts? That is a good question. It will take a few months, at least, and you should expect at least to looking at an anniversary, a year or so before it really starts kicking in big time for you. But it does depend. Again, I'm going to say this again. The real answer to this is how soon are you going to get the announcements done and keep them up and make things happen, because really it is up to you. The answer to this question is really up to you, but I'm just telling you realistically and humanistically, in terms of human efforts and things like that, it'll take quite a few months, if not a good part of your first year with us, to get the steam rolling and for there to be some action. Of course the interaction and the what they call that, the no they not the gestalt, but the synergy. That's the word. The synergy with all the other activities that are happening. It will produce more and more as time goes on, and you will see more and more results from what you're doing. So yeah, you again, this is like anything else. It's like any other business. It's really up to you. Absolutely. There's nothing here that anyone is doing for you. Okay, because I'm providing everything, my brainchild, everything, what you need to do, the strategies I've already provided to you in the PDF that you'll get. And the land is there, you're renting it, so you have the license to use it according to the strategies, and to make your efforts, and your efforts will pay off in the ways that we've already discussed. Simple is clean, it's simple, it's straightforward. Simply, according to your efforts, that's what you'll get out from your experience. Um, so if you make more properties available, I guess it's in the future, will I be able to rent those? And the answer to that is no. if, and that's a big if, because again, I'm really limiting this. This is a particular opportunity because of the particular relationships with other programs that have been done. We have just this little space here for 12 to get involved in this project right now. If something else comes along the way, as I mentioned before, that may occur if someone waits too long and the 12 spaces have already been claimed. There maybe, it's not guaranteed. There may be another program, not the same, but something else that maybe can be the same to this. But I'm not claiming that it will be, or that it will be available. But if something would develop later on that allows for more availability of something similar, you will not be able to rent those, simply because you don't need to. You will not need to. This is again what you're looking at right now is
better than anyone would need. So really, between the profits, the realized profits from the strategies, and the bonus, you don't need anything else. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. I can't tell you what the bonus is, but I can tell you that once you get the PDF and you start reading and you use your brain, you will know what the bonus is, and you will realize what I'm telling you now. You don't need to do anything other than this. You don't need to get any other properties, rental property situations like that. You don't need to do it. You don't absolutely don't need to do it. Just simply all you need to do is maintain your effort. Maintain your effort, and all of that will be clear to you when you have the PDF in hand. Now, so are there any other fees or monies I have to worry about? For 4 of the 5 programs, let's see here. For 4 of the 5 programs, no. For the one with the with that I compare to the vacation rental type of thing, yes. So if you're going to do the vacation rental type of program, you will have to it's significantly, not significantly, but it's going to be an investment in the rental units. You will have to have that paid for having that installed and set up for you. So that, yes, that you will have to do if you want to do that, and when you're able to do that. If you're unable to do that at the beginning, that's fine. You can do it at any time. The smart thing to do is wait till you start making the money from the other programs, right? And then take that money and put in the unit. This is like Monopoly. You ever played Monopoly? So when you made a little money for the hotel, then you put the hotel in. So this is the same thing. If you don't have the money to do the fifth one with the vacation rental, a unit, then don't worry about it till you make the money, and then you install it, and then you start making that. Again, each program needs what? Effort. It needs the effort. So you need to do that effort, because without it, you don't have anything. You're not doing anything. Okay. Now, and other than that, for the lifetime, your lifetime, the guaranteed rental renews. It survives to your survivor's spouse or children, as long as the rental is maintained, as long as the efforts are maintained. No one has anything to worry about. Simple as that. Okay, it's very simple, very straightforward. The only thing is the rental unit. Once you do the rental unit, it involves getting the rental unit, installing the rental unit, and also maintenance. Now, the maintenance, we can work it out through the profits. But understand that it has to be maintained. It's physical things. They have to be maintained. So you have to use your hand. Of course, it's going to cost a little bit more, but you'll be making a lot more, right? So this is the way it works in real estate. Uh, can I sublet, number 7, can I sublet my land lease or sell my participation in this project? And the answer to that is absolutely not. You don't own anything to sell it, so you cannot do that. You can only rent it, and you profit while you're using it. So, that's very key. So especially if you put a rental unit, you have to understand you have to satisfy yourself with the money you got out of it. Okay? Because other than that, you don't own anything. So you gotta understand that. And you're doing it just for the money you're making. So it really shouldn't matter to you in that sense. You're making the money, so what does it matter? You got your money back, and you made it many times over and over, so it doesn't matter. Again, this will be obvious to you as you go along in it. So no, you cannot sublet your land. There is a program that may involve something that appears to be a sublet. It isn't really, because it doesn't accrue to your benefit in financially in that sense. It accrues to your benefit in another sense, but not directly like that. So it's not really a sublet. But in any case, that's the answer to that is no. You can only make money from your land in the ways that we have specified, and that's it. That's the only way you're making money from your rental of this land. Okay. Can I use the strategies learned anywhere else? And the question to that, right on the face of it, is no. You can't use it anywhere else for reasons of they're proprietary. Number two, there's a non-disclosure statement. Part of this issue, you cannot disclose the ways that we are making money off of it. But the real big reason that you wouldn't be able to do it anyplace else is because you need so much other things in place for you to do this anyplace else. This is not something that you can just do on any piece of land. Like anybody can go and get a piece of land and do this on it. No. So the answer to that is no. Again, this is because, as I started the presentation, it's only because of the special relationship with other projects that we are able to do this. If you don't have this special relationship with these other projects, which are my own, by the way, you can't do it. No one else can do it. I mean, it would take them a very long time, a lot of other details, and what do you call that? Good and lucky coincidences to be able to duplicate what we're doing. So it's really not feasible that it can be done uh, outside of this project. And that's why the lucky 12 are the really lucky ones, because no one else can actually do what you'll be doing and making the money you'll be making from the project. So that is where you're very lucky. So gotta get moving. Can I use, so that was done number 9. Will I be doing any more physical work other than announcing, or what you call marketing, promoting? And the answer to that is, I'm just giving a quick through on the 5 methods. No, there should be nothing else that you're physically required to do in any, you're just simply promoting the business, the income creation generation programs that are focused or centered on the lot that you've rented, and that's all you need to do. You're acting like any other landlord, any other, well, not any other landlord actually. Yeah, but landlords do this too. But anyone who has the right to use a space, a rented property, facility, etc., you're doing the same type of promoting, the income generation using that space. You're doing the same thing. So that's all. That's really all you have to do is just keep promoting, announcing, and just keep that going and build up a rate and a what you call a habit. We'll cover all of that during the training, so that every day you are making sure that you're doing an effort every day, and you will see results from that, and you'll see the profits and the bonus react to that as you go along. So what is the bonus is the last question here. And again, the bonus, I can't tell you what it is. It simply is going to make you happy. That's all I can say. Something that'll make you happy. It'll make you scratch your head and really feel good about yourself. That you know what, I did the right thing. I I I I I joined this program and I'm really happy. I'm part of one of the lucky 12, and that's it. We're good to go. The only thing affecting the bonus, of course, is the rate of rent that you've chosen to participate in. And as I told you before, listen, 10% of something, even if you're paying $100 a month, 10% of something is better than 10% of nothing. Okay, that's all I can say about it. Now, so that's it. So those are the frequently asked questions. Um, How to rent yours today? You start today by paying the initial payment. You have to choose 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Now, another question that wasn't there, it just came to me concerning that, is how about if I can afford, 350 or 150 or um, 950, or I can't afford the 100 period. Maybe I can afford $90 or $50. Okay, so let's deal with the lower. Anything below 100, I can't help you. Move on, do something. I have other programs that are like $25 a week. So look for those. Sometimes I do videos on them. Look for that. Those will be mostly available for a longer period of time than this. This is simply $100 is the minimum. $1,000 is the maximum monthly rent. Now, can you pay 125, 150, 166? Yes, you can. And your percentage will be exactly in line with whatever your monthly payment is going to be. So yes, even though I say 100, 200, 300, that's just for example to show you that 100 is 10%, 200 is 20%. But if you do 250, 200 if you do 250, it will be 25%, right? So you figure out it's really based on how much you want to put into this securing this rental for yourself, and that will affect your bonus level as well as your income level. Again, more the better, but don't do more than you can. Simply stay within your limits, for goodness sakes. The whole point of this is for you to make money, not for you to go broke. Okay, so that's the whole point of this whole thing. Okay, so let me try to get over to the other camera. Hold on for that. Sorry about that, but obviously it's still holding on to that screen over there. So